Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. Let us welcome all the students. Waalaikumsalam Khair. Selamat pagi Syamin. Waalaikumsalam Fir. Waalaikumsalam Najwa. Waalaikumsalam Ellie. Good morning Pei Chong. Good morning Gan. Hi Moon. Waalaikumsalam Pak An. Waalaikumsalam Firzan. Waalaikumsalam Aisyah. Bye. Salam Aisyah. Salam Jana. Good morning Nob. Hello Arvin. Good morning Narvin. Salam Umi. Okay, so there are currently 21 watching right now. So I hope that as we go along, so there will be more viewers. Okay, because it is supposed to be 98 of you watching right now, okay, for the lecture. So we have come to the final week of interaction. Okay, so since we have covered everything in this semester, so now it's time to do revision. And in order to do this, so I have chosen charismatic set to be discussed. And okay, you may find that the discussion will involve topic 4, conics, okay, topic 5, vectors, topic 8, probability, 9, random variables, and lastly, topic 10, special probability distributions. Okay, so as usual, if you have any questions throughout the discussion, so you are most welcome to write in the live chat. So if we do have time, then I will try to answer your questions. Okay, so now let's begin. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Okay, so we do have, okay, so you may find the total marks 100, but the marks are not written here. Okay, but this paper consists of two parts, okay, part A and part B. Okay, so let's discuss. Okay, so we are going to cover few topics in this case. Okay, so we don't really focus on one particular topic. Okay, because it's now time for revision, right? So we're going to discuss everything. Okay, so now let's discuss the first question. Okay, question number 1. The events A and B are such that PA equals 0.3, PB equals 0.4, and PA union B equals 0.5. So the question says determine whether or not A and B are independent. So now let's recall the independent events. If we do have two events to be independent, that means the occurrence of one event does not affect the occurrence of another event, whereby we can say that PA given B is equal to PA, or PB given A equals PB, or you may also use the intersection. Okay, so whereby PA intersect B is equal to PA times PB. Okay, so in order to solve this problem, so you actually to determine whether two events are independent, so you may use any of these. Okay, but because we don't have information on the conditional probability, right? So we will just find the intersection from the additional probability formula. So the additional probability formula says that if you have PA union B, so this is equal to PA plus PB minus PA intersect B. So now, okay, what do we have at the moment? So we do have these three, PA, PB, and also PA union B. So we substitute all of these three and we try to find A intersect B. So you may find the answer to be 0.2. Okay, now we have got this. So we are going to use this in order to check whether the events are independent or not. So we already have PA and also PB. So we just perform the multiplication. So you will notice that the value is 0.12, which is not equal to 0.2. So in this case, we can just conclude that A and B are not independent events. Okay, and then evaluate. Okay, evaluate. So the question B here says evaluate probability of A given B prime. So by using conditional probability formula, okay, so conditional probability formula, if you have A given B, so the formula is PA intersect B divided by PB. And this formula will be given in exam, so you don't have to worry. So now by substituting into the formula, so PA given B prime is equal to PA intersect B prime divided by PB prime. And okay, so how do we obtain this? All right, so you may just use this formula. Okay, or let's say if you don't really remember this formula in exam, so what you do is, so you know that, yeah, so A intersect B prime. So let's say if this is A and this is B, so you will notice that, okay, A intersect B prime is basically the region here. All A except for the B. Okay, so you may see that this is basically PA minus PA intersect B. Yeah? Okay, so you may just derive this formula. And since PB prime is simply complement of PB, so it's 1 minus. All right, so now you substitute all the values involved, so you will get this answer. Okay, so I would say this question is very straightforward. And yeah, so I really hope that you will be able to solve this kind of problem. Yeah? Okay, so now let's continue. Okay, question number 2. Okay, Anne and Brian play a board game against each other regularly. So the probability that Anne wins a game is 0.7 and the probability that Brian wins a game is 0.3 independently of all other games. So it says here independent. Yeah? So okay, one day they play 10 games. So altogether, so this would be the N. Okay, 10 games, or the number of trials in this case. And those two here are probability of success. And then, okay, let's have a look at the X. So it's defined in the question that X denotes the number of games won by N. So the probability of success has to be for N here. Okay, so this is 0.7. Okay, now state the distribution of X including any parameters. So if you are required to state, so now we just declare this as number of games. Yeah. So because X is denoted by the number of games won by N, so you will see that, okay, so X would be number of games won by N, okay, and then you can see that X can be binomially distributed with N 10, okay, which is the number of games here, and probability of success 0.7 because it belongs to N, yeah, okay, when N wins the game. Okay, and state the distribution. So we can say that this can be modeled using a binomial distribution with N 10 and probability of success 0.7. Okay, because why? This situation complies all the 4 conditions, right? We had discussed before. Okay, yeah. Okay, we do have one question here. Okay, Phil ask, guys, ini charismatic apa ya? Okay, by the way, this is charismatic set D, which I haven't distributed yet. Okay, so I don't think you do have the soft copy with you, but soon I will share this with you. Okay, so now let's continue. Okay, so then the question says, okay, determine the mean and standard deviation of X. Okay, so the mean can be obtained by multiplying the N and the P. So we do have NP equals 7. And the standard deviation, so in order to find standard deviation in this case, okay, so in order to find standard deviation in this case, so first we need to obtain the variance. Okay, and we know the variance is NPQ. Okay, so it's N multiplied by P multiplied by Q here. So, and then you just find the square root of the NPQ, then you will get 1.45 as the standard deviation. Okay, now the question says, find the probability that N wins more games than Brian. So since they play 10 games, right? So 10 games, so means, okay, yeah, the case where N will win more game than Brian is when N wins more than 6, more equals 6, okay? Why? Because, yeah, if you write N equals 10, so it can be either 10, 1, 9, sorry, 10, 0, okay? So 9, 0, 10, 0, 9, 1, okay, and then 8, 2, 7, 3, then 6, 4, and then 5, 5. But here it wouldn't be more than, right? So we are going to stop here. So in this case, okay, the only case where N will win more than Brian is this number and above. So we have how many cases here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cases. So which means here N has to win more equals 6 games, yeah? So N has to win, okay, 6 games and above. All right, so because X is basically the number of games, so it has to begin with 6, yeah? So we need to find probability of X greater equals 6. Okay, so the probability of x greater equal 6. But the problem will arise when you need to refer the binomial table. So you may refer that the probability of success in this case is 0.7. Okay, so probability of success is 0.7 and it cannot be found anywhere in the binomial table. So in this case, okay, we are going to use the complement event. Okay, because yeah, so since x is number of games won by n, so we are going to use x prime, which is number of games won by Brian. So in this case, x prime can be not binomially distributed with n10 and probability of success 0.3. Okay, now we want x greater equal 6. So if you draw a table, so 6 here, sorry, this is x and this is x prime. So greater equal 6 means 6, 7, 8. And x prime means you have 4, 3, 2, right? So you can see that as x gets larger, the x prime will get smaller here. So this one gets larger. Okay, the x prime will get smaller. So we can say that as, okay, x greater equal 6, this is equal to x prime less equal 4. Okay, so but then we still cannot read the table because this is less equal. Okay, in order to read the binomial table, you have to, okay, you have to get the reading where x greater equal r, right? So this is how we can read the binomial table. So it's 1 minus, yeah? So it's 1 minus because we want 4 to the left. So we don't want 5 to the right. So, okay, we just subtract with, okay, 5 to the right. And this one you can read table since now the probability of success is 0.3. Okay, so you just find in the binomial table and then probability of success 0.3. So when R is 5, so this is the reading and you just press calculator to obtain the probability. Okay, so now let's have a look at the next question. Okay, so we do have this. Okay, the probability distribution of a discrete random variable x is given as follows. Okay, so this question is very straightforward because why? You are given the table. You don't have to construct the table anymore. Okay, so now the question says find the expectation. Okay, so calculate the expectation of x. So because it's declared as discrete random variable, so with the formula of expectation would be sum of x multiplied by its probability. So you just get this x multiplied by its probability. So okay, please bear in mind you have to clearly show this step in exam because this will give you k1 and this will give you j1. Okay, so I hope that you can show this clearly, and then expectation of x squared, so it's just, okay, the summation of x squared multiplied by its probability. So you need to get each of the x's and then multiplied by their probabilities. And again, so please show this very clearly in exam because again, this will also give you k1 and this is j1. Okay, and my advice is make sure you press your calculator, okay, very carefully, Okay, and then when it comes to variance, so how to find variance? So we use the formula here, expectation of x squared minus expectation of x squared here. So now by using the previous answer that we obtained, and then we just bring it down, okay, substitute into the formula, and you will get this answer. Okay, so I would say this question is very straightforward. So means, okay, there would be no reason of you losing any marks here. So please make sure, guys, okay, again, be very careful when it comes to pressing your calculator. Okay, now let's continue. Okay, we are done with part A because again, part A will consist 3 questions only. Now let's move on to part B, which contains more difficult questions, I would say. Okay, so now let's have a look at this question. So this question involves topic 3, numerical methods. So show that the equation has only one root, alpha, in the interval 1.1, 1.5. Okay, so when it comes to proving the existence of root, so we have 2 methods. One, algebraic method, and second, graphical method. So if you want to use graphical method, okay, let's say if you want to use graphical method, so you need to sketch the graph. So my advice is first you split into 2, so ln x minus 1, and you bring these 2 to the right. So you will have equals negative x minus 1. So in this case, you have log function, and on the right here, you have linear function. Okay, so in order to show, okay, the existence of root, okay, you need to sketch the two graphs here. One is log graph and second is linear graph. And then you just need to show that the intersection of these two lies between this interval. Okay, so then you just make a conclusion. Or, okay, according to this solution, we use algebraic method. Okay, algebraic method means we look for the change of sign. Yeah, so this is algebraic method. And I would say this is easier method, okay, compared to graphical method. Okay, because once you sketch the graph wrong, then the whole thing will be wrong. Okay, so we just copy back the function, okay, because everything is already on one side. Now you see the right hand side is already 0. So you just take the whole thing here. So this is your fx. Okay, so let fx to be this. And then we substitute f1.1. Okay, we substitute 1.1 into the function and we get a negative value. And we substitute 1.5, we get a positive value. So you can, okay, just state a conclusion. Since there is a change of sign, so there is a root between 1.1 and 1.5. Okay, so again, please write down conclusion. Yeah, so conclusion is a must. All right, okay, because this will give you GA1. Okay, so now, okay, next part of the question. Hence, by taking suitable first approximation, okay, because we have shown just now, right, there is a root between 1.1 and 1.5. So you may just choose any value between this interval, between these two values. Okay, so we are going to use Newton-Raphson method to find a root. Okay, correct to 3 significant figures. Okay, so please bear in mind 3 significant figures. So that means throughout your solution, you have to show 4 or more. Okay, so now let's begin here. So we already have the fx, and now we just differentiate the fx. So you will see that the derivative would be 1 over x minus 1 plus 1. Okay, and simplifying this will give you x over x minus 1. And then, okay, by using Newton-Raphson method, okay, Newton-Raphson formula, okay, so we will begin with, okay, 1.3. So now you may see that the x0 is 1.3 from this solution. But again, you may choose any value in between. You may choose 1.1 or you may choose 1.2, 1.3 and so on until 1.5. But please make sure you don't choose value outside the interval. Yeah. Okay, so now we begin with 1.3, and please, okay, you see that here the answers are given in 5 significant figures. Yeah. Okay, so again, if the question asks for 3 significant figures, so you have to, okay, throughout the solution, you have to give 4 or more. So in this case, okay, we provide 5 significant figures. Okay, and then, and not only that, you need to show, okay, substitution method. Okay, 2 steps, in 2 steps. So the substitution steps has to be shown twice. Okay, so this is the first, and this is the second substitution step. And then we get this, and then for x3 you don't have to show anymore, the substitution step. Okay, so again you can see that we provide 5 significant figures. Okay, now because we can't see that the values repeated, so we continue further. But yeah, because the question asks for 3 significant figures, so if you try to round it off 1.1169, you may find that the answer is 1.12. And here also, if you try to round it off, you will find that this is also 1.12. So please stop here. Make sure you stop at x equals 4. Okay, and then you can see that, okay, so since the last two values agree to the degree of accuracy, because yeah, the question asks for 3 significant figures, and after we round off, we get, okay, exactly the same value. So we stop and we just finalize the answer to be 1.12. Okay, all right, now let's continue to the second question. Okay, given that a circle passes through the point 52 and touches the line. So when it comes to the word touches, so we can conclude that this line is basically tangent to the circle. Tangent to the circle at the point 36. Okay, find the coordinates of the center. So the question says find the coordinate of the center and the radius. Hence, find the general equation of this circle. So how to solve this problem? Okay, so my advice is for topic 4, okay, please at least draw a diagram just to get some ideas of the situation. So because so now you see that, okay, we have this circle, okay, passes through point 52. So this is the point. and touches the line. So it touches the line. So you can see that here it's a tangent line to the circle, and it touches the line at this point 36. Okay, so now how to obtain the center? Okay, so now you may see that this center is still unknown, right? HK. Okay, so now what do we do? Okay, now because we have 2 points on the circle here, right? One is 36, one is 52. So then how do we obtain the center? So okay, because yeah, this is the center, and yeah, these two will give you radius, right? So we can say that okay, the radius is basically the distance, yeah, from this point to A and this point to T. So yeah, it's just about the labeling. So you can use any letters to label the points. Okay, so it's the distance from this center to A and this center to T. So by using distance formula, okay, so you may just substitute, and please bear in mind the HK are still remain as unknown. Yeah, we do not know what the values are. So we substitute, and if we square both sides, then you will eliminate the square root, and then you expand. Okay, expand the left hand side, expanding the left hand side, and then expanding the right hand side. Okay, then you can cancel out the h squared here. H squared on the left will be cancelled out with h squared on the right, as well as the k squared, and then simplifying everything will give you this equation. Okay, so this is one equation, yeah, because we do have two unknowns in this case, so there must be two equations so that we can solve simultaneously, right? Okay, so what do we do? How to obtain the second equation? Okay, we are going to use this line. Okay, so the purpose of giving you this line is this, okay, because we can obtain the gradient of the tangent from this, which is -1, right? Okay, so we can say that, okay, the gradient of normal here, this would be the normal, right? Okay, passing through the center, and this is the tangent. So we can say that, okay, the gradient of normal multiplied by gradient of tangent here equals -1. Okay, so how to obtain gradient of normal? So since we already have 2 points with the hk still unknown, so you will have 6 minus k divided by 3 minus h. Okay, so this is the gradient of the normal, and then multiplied by the gradient of tangent, and we know it's equal -1. So with this we can get, okay, we can conclude that the fraction here is equal to 1, and then cross multiplying will give you h equals k minus 3. So this is the second equation that we can obtain, and then solving these two simultaneously, you'll be able to get the values of hk, and then okay, you find your center, okay, from the values of hk. So since h is -2, so this is the x coordinate of the center, and k is 1, so this is the y coordinate of the center. So hk center is -2, 1, and then the radius, okay, so we just substitute the center into the distance formula to get the radius. Okay, CA, you may just choose CA or CT, okay, either one, because we have 2 points on the circle just now. So substituting the values of HK into this will give you the radius to be 5 sec 2. And then the question says find the equation of circle. We just substitute the center and the radius into standard equation, and then by expanding this, you will get the equation of the circle to be this: x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 2y minus 45. Okay, and you may find an alternative method to this question, but this is a bit longer, I would say. Yes, but it depends on you, okay? Because yeah, you may use any method that you prefer. Okay, again, we do have the same information where, okay, the circle passes through these 2 points. Okay, the circle passes through these 2 points, 3, 6 and 5, 2. Okay, and we know that this is the tangent. Okay, and the center is still unknown. Okay, in this case, the center is -g, -f. Okay, so now based on the gradient of the tangent, it's -1, and we may conclude that the gradient of normal is 1, and we substitute, okay, we need to find the equation of the normal. So, and we know also that the normal passes through the same point here, right, as the tangent. Okay, it passes through this 3, 6. So we just substitute the point 3, 6 into the equation of normal. Then you may find the equation of normal is this. And not only that, we know also that the normal passes through the center, right, which is -g, -f. So we may substitute the coordinate of center into the normal equation, and we get this one equation. And second, you may okay, so now we have one equation involving f and g. Okay, and now you may write the general equation of the circle, and because the circle passes through these 2 points, right? So we substitute and we get these two more equations involving g, f, c. And then you can see that by solving them simultaneously, okay, all the three equations here, right? Okay, all the three equations, equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3 simultaneously, then you'll be able to obtain the values of g, f, and c. Okay, then after we get the values of g, f, and c, okay, and what you do, okay, so you just substitute to get the center, because we know center is negative g, negative f. So we get negative 2, 1, and the radius is, okay, square root of g squared plus f squared minus c, which is this, all right, and you will get the answer to be 5, 2. And because we have obtained the values of g, f, and c, you just substitute into the general equation, then you will get this answer. Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, so this is the alternative method. So you may just choose, yeah, to let the center to be HK or G, negative F. All right. Okay, and let's see here. We do have one question. Okay, madam, yang ni tak boleh buat macam hari tu ke? Pakai equation of tangent. Okay, you may give it a try, and you just need to check whether it satisfies or not. The circle passes through the point 5, 2. Okay, so I will try to provide the solution. Okay, so I will try to provide using that one. Okay, later on. Okay, so now let's continue. Okay, after the question here, after finding equation, so then, okay, the question says show that the circle C1 also intersect the circle C2. Okay, state the coordinates of the intersection. Okay, how to show that two circles intersect each other? Okay, now we do have two equations of circles. Okay, so what do we do? Okay, we subtract. Yeah, the purpose of subtracting this so that we can eliminate the x square and y square. Okay, and we do have this okay, and you may see that the y here in this case also eliminated. Okay, so the y also eliminated, so now you will, okay, straight away get the value of x. Okay, and then if you want to substitute into any of the equations, okay, so you may find that, yeah, based on the quadratic of y, so you can find the a, b, c. Okay, so you can see that here this is coefficient of y squared, so a is 1, and then this is coefficient of y, so b is negative 2, and because there's no constant here, so c is 0. So by substituting into the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, and you will get a positive value. So you can say that, you can make a conclusion that, okay, the two circles are, okay, intersecting each other at 2 points. Okay, then how to get the values? All right, so you just solve this quadratic of y. So you will see that there are two values of y. Okay, and yeah, this is the value of x, right? X equals 5. So you may see that, okay, the 2 points of intersection are 5, 0 and 5, 2. Okay, then after we get the point of intersection, so what's next? Okay, the question says, find the equation of parabola with focus 1, negative 2 and directrix y equals 2. Okay, so please bear in mind, okay, the line here, directrix y equals 2. So the directrix is a horizontal line. So the only chance if the directrix, okay, if the directrix is horizontal, so the only possibility is you will have this kind of parabola. It opens up or upwards or opens downward. Yeah, so we may exclude the possibility that it's okay, opens right or opens left. So okay, once you see this, so we know that the equation of parabola is going to be this: x minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k. Okay, so this is how we determine the equation of the parabola. Okay, so now, okay, so we try to draw a diagram just to get some ideas. All right, so you see y equals 2 is this, and it's stated that the vertex is at this point. Okay, so because the vertex is down here, so, and the directrix is here, so this is the directrix. So we know that, okay, it's going to be open downwards, yeah. Okay, so this is the axis of parabola. So vertex 1, 0, and then we can conclude that, okay, the P or the A is negative 2. Why? Because in this case, if you have open upward, the P is positive, right? And if you have open downward, so the P is negative. Okay, so I am referring to this equation of parabola. X minus H squared equals 4P times Y minus K. Okay, so Y minus K. So this is the value of A or also P. Sometimes, okay, you may find this as P, written as P, and you may find this to be written as A. Okay, so since A is negative, okay, so it's going to be, okay, open downwards. And then, yeah, from there, okay, because the distance here is 2, right? The distance here is 2. Okay, and we know that the distance here must be also 2. Okay, so from here we can deduce that the coordinate of focus is, okay, 1, negative 2. Alright, so that's the coordinate of focus. So substituting into this equation of parabola, so you can see that the vertex is at 1, 0. So, okay, you will have this. We substitute 1 and we substitute 0. And, okay, because it opened downward, so it's negative, the P is negative. Okay, so we substitute negative 2. So eventually you may, okay, simplify, and this is the equation of the parabola. And then hence sketch. Okay, so sketch. So now, okay, when it involves sketching, so you need to show clearly the intercept. Yeah. So in this case, you can see that when x is 0, okay, so let's try to find the value of y. So when x is 0, so you will have negative 8y equals, okay, a 1. And you can see that y is equal to negative 1 over 8. Okay, so you can say that, yeah, the parabola, okay, basically looks like this one. So this is negative 1 over 8. Okay, so and my advice is, please show clearly the intercept. Yeah, if you do have any, so you show clearly the intercept. Alright. Okay, now let's discuss number 3. Okay, the average number of students entering the main door of a library between 9 to 9:30 a.m. So we can see that there is a time interval here. Now we are talking about number of students entering the main door. Okay, so between 9 to 9:30 means in 30 minutes. And we are given this time. So again, as you can see the time interval and you are given the average. So this has to be Poisson distribution. Okay, so you can say that this x can be, okay, modeled using Poisson distribution with lambda 10. Yeah, so we are given the average is 10. Yeah, so the number of students. Okay, so lambda is 10. So you can just declare first x is number of students entering the main door between 9 to 9:30, or you can just write down, okay, the number of students entering the main door in 30 minutes. Okay, so now we can see that x is, okay, modeled using Poisson distribution with lambda 10. So now the question says calculate the probability that 3 to 5. So 3 to 5 means the 3 and 5 are included. So, okay, so because Poisson here is for discrete, right? So, okay, if you draw number line, so we want 3 to 5, yeah? So which means we want these 3 dots. So basically, so what can we do? So you can see that first you may just obtain 3 to the right, yeah? 3 to the right, which means you have x greater equal 3. And okay, from here, what do we want? Okay, we don't want this, right? We don't want this dot. So we don't want, here is 6, it's supposed to be 6. So we don't want 6 to the right. Okay, so you can see that, okay, 3 to the right minus 6 to the right will give you these 3 dots. Alright, so now you can just read the Poisson table. Okay, and lambda is 10 in this case, so you just find, okay, in Poisson table lambda 10, and you read, yeah, when r is 3 and when r is 6. So you will have these two readings and you just press calculator. So this is the answer. Okay, now next question. Okay, if the probability of less than m students, okay, less than m students, okay, entering the library at that time is 0.583, so find the value of m. Okay, so now you want less than m, but the m is not included, right? So because, yeah, this is discrete, so we want m minus 1 to the left. So we want this basically. So what don't we want? So we don't want m to the right, yeah? So we don't want m to the right. Okay, so basically we don't want m to the right. So that's why you can see here, it's 1 minus m to the right, yeah? Okay, and we just equate to 0.583. And okay, by simplifying this, so this one you make a subject. So this would be, okay, 1 minus 0.583 is 0.417. And by reading table, so you can conclude that m equals 11. Alright, so this is the answer, yeah? Okay, then for the 3b, okay, so the random variable y has the distribution. Okay, it's, yeah, you can see clearly that y is normally distributed with mean mu. So this is the mean and this is the variance. So we can see here the y is normally distributed with unknown mean and unknown variance. But we are given this information, yeah? So 2 sigma or 2 multiplied by standard deviation is equal to 3 mu, and the mu is not equal to 0. Okay, so this is declared. Why? If the mu is 0, then we know this is already standard normal. But if the mu is not 0, then we know that this is normal distribution. Okay, so find probability of y greater than 4 mu. So how to solve this? Okay, so now let's have a look at this one. Okay, so we need to find probability of y greater than 4 mu. So because this is normal, right? So this is normal distribution just now. So we are going to standardize it. Okay, so this is the process of standardization. Okay, so this is the process of standardization. So 4 mu minus mu divided by standard deviation, and you will see that this is 3 mu over sigma. Okay, so now because from this information itself, we are given this information, right? You can see that 2 sigma equals 3 mu. So we write down this mu over sigma as a subject. So you can see that here mu over sigma is equal to 2 over 3. So basically this is mu over sigma and this is 2 over 3. So what do? We just replace this mu over sigma by 2 over 3. Okay, and you can just simplify this. So you want probability of z greater than 2, and you may just read the standard normal table, and this is the answer. Okay, so this is when the mean and variance unknowns, yeah, we do not know the value. Okay, so this is how we solve it. But we are given this information, so we make full use of this information, to help us to solve the problem. Okay, and then next, fourth question. Okay, we are given this. Okay, this is topic 9, random variables. Okay, so the cumulative distribution function fx of a continuous random variable, is defined as follows. So now we are given the CDF, yeah? So please take note, we are given the CDF of continuous random variable. Okay, so this is basically the CDF, cumulative distribution function. Okay, so now how to solve the question, yeah? So the question says find the values of the constants A and B. Okay, so how to find the values of the constants? All right, so because this is cumulative, so you may try to draw number line. Okay, so you can see that the functions are defined as follows, yeah? From -2, 0, and then 0, 4, and then 4 to 6. Okay, so when x is less than -2, the function here is 0. When x is from -2 to 0, the function here is 1 over 12, 2 plus x. And then from 0 to 4, the function here is a plus x over 6. And then from 4 to 6, the function here is b plus x over 12. And then from 6 and above, the function is 1. Okay, so we are given the CDF. So you can see clearly that, at this particular value, when x is 0, so you can see that here when x is 0, so there are two functions defined, right? So, we may substitute 0 into this function and also this function. So if you substitute 0 into this function, you will get 1 over 6. And then we substitute 0 into this function, you will get, okay, A. And then you may just conclude, yeah, because in this case both are F0, right? So you may just equate the values. So you can conclude that A is equal to 1 over 6. And then, okay, next, okay, you may see that this is value of 6, right? If, yeah, so this is F6, yeah? F6 equals 1. And then you may substitute the value of 6 into this function. So you can see that substituting x into this function will give you b plus 6 over 12. And because both are f6 here, so you may just equate. So you can conclude that b is half. Okay, so this is basically how we find the values of unknowns if we are given the CDF. Okay, now the question says find the probability density function fx. Okay, so finding PDF is just by differentiating the CDF, right? Okay, so you can see that this is your PDF. So fx is simply, okay, finding fx is just simply by differentiating the CDF. Okay, so this is your fx. So, okay, according to each range, we just integrate. We differentiate 0, we get 0. And we differentiate 1 over 2. Here, we differentiate 1 over 12, 2 plus x, you will get 1 over 2. Okay, and then differentiating the function here. Okay, differentiating this function. Okay, will give you 1 over 6. And differentiating this function will give you 1 over 12. And then differentiating this will give you 0. Okay, so you can see that differentiating each of the CDF, 1 over 6, 1 over 12, and 0. Okay, and you may find that the 0 here appears twice, right? So what you do is you just combine the 0 function and you write it down otherwise. Okay, and for the rest, you just copy back together with their intervals here. Okay, you just copy back. So now this is your PDF in piecewise function. So again, whenever you are required to find function, make sure the final answer has to be in piecewise. Okay, then the question says find the probability of x greater equal 3 and less than 5. So in this case, I would advise you to use the CDF, okay, because here, okay, this is for continuous random variable, right? So the equal sign does not matter. So in terms of CDF, to find the probability here, so it's just F5 minus F3. Okay, and you will get this value. Or, okay, because you already have the PDF, right? So this is probability density function. Okay, so in order to use PDF to find the probability, okay, so because we do have the interval here, so 3 is located here and 5 is located here, right? So what you do, okay, in order to find the probability of x greater equal 3 and less than 5, so in order to use the PDF, so you may just integrate, okay, from 3 to 4, you integrate 1 over 6, and then you plus with, you integrate 4 to 5 here. Okay, the function is 1 over 12. And then you will get exactly the same answer as this method. Okay, but again, I would advise if you already have the CDF, so you just make full use of the CDF, yeah, because that would be easier. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question, number 5. So this will involve topic 5, yeah, vectors in 3 dimensions. So now we are given 2 lines. Okay, so we are given these 2 lines. Okay, so you see that these are parametric equations, right? Okay, in terms of the parameters. Okay, so L1 and L2, find the acute angle between 2 lines. Okay, so if you rewrite, yeah, the L1, so this is x equals 1 plus s, y equals 3 minus s, and z equals s minus 5 means this is negative 5 plus s. Okay, and then okay, you writing down x, y, z in terms of column matrix. So this is equal to 1, 3, negative 5 plus, okay, you factorize the s out. So this is 1, negative 1, and 1. Okay, so by comparing this with general equation, so R equals A plus TV. So we may just conclude that this is the direction vector of the first line. Okay, and you may do the same also for the second line. So you may see that the coefficient of the T here, 1, 1, 1, is basically the direction vector of the second line. So this is V1, I would say, because this is direction vector for line 1. and V2 is basically the coefficients of the parameter. So you will see that this is the direction vector of the second line. So now how to find acute angle? So we just use the formula of dot product. Okay, so the formula would be cos theta equals V1 dot V2 dividing the magnitude of each, magnitude of V1, magnitude of V2. Okay, so now the question says acute angle. So now let's have a look what happens if we try to find this. Okay, so this is 1, negative 1, 1. Okay, the V1, and then this is the V2. Performing dot product between them will give you a scalar. So please take note, this is dot product. And the result is to be scalar. Okay, and then finding magnitude of each, okay, using the formula of magnitude. Okay, basically you get this value, and then writing down cos theta as a subject, and then inverse cos. Okay, and please set your calculator to degree mode to find the answer. So this is the value, and it happens to be acute already, so we just stop here. Okay, so this is the acute angle between the two lines. Okay, next question. Find the line equation perpendicular to both. Okay, so now by drawing the diagram here, so you imagine this is L1, this is L2. So just now we find the angle, right? 70.8 degrees. Okay, sorry, 70.53, 73.53 degrees. Okay, then the question says find a line equation perpendicular to both. So perpendicular to both, so which means here the L3 must be perpendicular to both. So what do we do? So the idea is we are going to perform cross product between the two V's, the two direction vectors of L1 and L2, and you will get the direction vector of the third line. So let's have a look here. Okay, by performing cross product of the direction vectors, okay, so this is the direction vector of V1, direction vector of L2. Okay, and performing the cross product will give us a new vector. So this is a vector perpendicular to both V1 and V2. Okay, and then so you may just get the Alright, so this is the answer. And please, there is a reminder here, the answer is not unique, which means, this is not one specific answer. You can have different answers. Where do we obtain the 1, 3 and negative 5? 1, 3, negative 5 is basically a position vector of fixed point on L1, on L1. So this, let's say you have this equation of L1, right? So we would say that this is, let's say, the fixed point on the line. So this is 1, 3, negative 5. So because the question says find the equation of line perpendicular to both, so we can also let the L3 here to pass through this point. Or if you want to use the fixed point on L2 also, it's not a big deal. So fixed point on L2 is basically, so the fixed point on L2 is basically negative 1, 5 and negative 7. So you can also let this point, this fixed point on L2 to be also fixed point on L3. So it doesn't matter. So 1, 5, negative 7 can also be written here. So the R, 1, I, 5, negative 7. So 5 plus 5J minus 7K, plus T, negative 2I plus 2K. So the answer here is not unique. So this is not the only answer that we have. You can have multiple answers. Let's say if you factorize the 2 out also, so we can say that let's say if you divide the direction vector, so here this is actually the direction vector of the third line. So this is V3. So if you simplify this, let's say if you let the V3 to be negative I plus K, also correct. And if you change the direction also, also correct. So that's why it's stated here the answer is not unique. So you can have multiple answers. So please don't restrict your answer to one single answer only. And in fact the fixed point on the line can also vary. You can just take the fixed point on L1 or you can just take a fixed point on L2. It doesn't matter. Okay, that is the answer for the B part. Okay, now let's continue with the C. Find equation of the plane containing L2 and point 5, negative 2, 3. Okay, so the plane contains this L2. Okay, the plane contains this L2 and point. So this is also fixed point on the plane. So how do we find the equation of the plane? So this is the diagram. Okay, the diagram. So we have this plane and the plane contains L2 and also this fixed point. So what do we do now? Okay, on this L2 itself, okay, so based on the equation of L2 just now, this is basically fixed point, right? Fixed point on L2. Okay, and indirectly we can say that the fixed point on the line is also fixed point on the plane. Okay, why? Because the plane contains the line. Okay, so then we have this also fixed point on the plane. Okay, so what do? We are going to construct the AB vector. How to construct AB vector? So we can just use this one. So AB is equal to OB minus OA. So by subtracting this, so you will have 5, negative 2, 3, minus OA, negative 1, 5, negative 7. Okay, so you can see that the AB vector is 5 minus negative 1, which is 6i, and then negative 2 minus 5 is minus 7j, and 3 minus negative 10 is plus 10k. So you have this one vector AB, and what we're going to do, we are going to perform cross product between the direction vector V here and this vector AB, so that we can get a normal vector of the plane. So that's the idea. So performing cross product between vector, okay, direction vector of line 2. So this is direction vector of line 2, and then this is the AB vector just now. So we'll give you a new vector, which is actually the normal vector of the plane. So this is normal vector of the plane. So you just begin with the normal vector, okay, the vector equation. So R dot N equals A dot N. So in this case, the A here is should be the position vector of fixed point, right? So because we do have two fixed points, so it doesn't matter any point that you choose. Okay, so you just substitute, and because the question asks for what Cartesian equation is it? Okay, it's stated only equation of the plane, so you may just stop at vector equation, or okay, if you want to give in Cartesian equation, so this would be the answer. This is Cartesian equation. Cartesian equation, or if you want to give in vector equation, so you just copy back this. So R dot with 17 minus 4 minus 13 equals 54. So this is vector equation of the plane. Okay, and this is Cartesian equation of the plane. All right, and then continuous random variable. So this is PDF for continuous. Okay, and then how to find expectation of 1 over x. So the formula will be this. Okay, expectation of 1 over x is basically 1 over x multiplied by its PDF. Okay, and because there's only one function involved, so you just multiply with this and you just integrate from 1 to 2. So from 1 to 2. Okay, you simplify first the function. You divide by x here, so x can be cancelled out. So this will be x squared, and then integrating the function, substituting limit will give you this value. Okay, 7407. Okay, and then find an expression for the CDF valid for this interval. So we just focus on that particular interval. Okay, so for this region, okay, we need to find the cumulative distribution function. So you just put the x here in between. Okay, so you just put x in between. Okay, now you just integrate from 1 to x. Okay, so you will see that you will obtain this function for this particular interval. And then, okay, hence we need to find the probability, right? Hence calculate. So because there is a hence word means we need to use the previous answer. So in this case, our previous answer is basically the CDF, right? So we just use the CDF. Okay, so in order to find the probability here, okay, so you just use the CDF and you substitute the values into the function, and this will be the answer. So in this case, you cannot use the PDF anymore because there is a hence word, Okay, and then find the median. So you just substitute the m into the equation and you will find that it's going to be a quartic. But no problem, this quartic is basically quadratic of quadratic function, yeah. So you just let y to be m squared, and yeah, so by letting we let y equals m squared, so you will get basically this quadratic, and solving this using formula, so you will get two values, and then finding the square root of these two values will give you these two answers, yeah. First 2.47 and negative 2.47, and then 1.37 and negative 1.37, and because the interval is 1 until 2, so we just accept the answer which satisfies the range. Okay, all right. So then I think there would be the last question for our discussion here, because it's already 4 minutes to 11 o'clock. Okay, so now currently there are 37 of you watching. Okay, so I hope that later on I will give you the copy of this charismatic set. Okay, so I hope that later you may try to give the sets a try. Okay, and try to and the fun answers will be provided. Okay, so I think that be the end of our lecture today. So thank you for your presence and thank you for your attention, guys. So I'll end this lecture with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.